National Guard, State Police, Fish and Wildlife, so many local first responders, police, firefighters, and others who step up and do the incredible. Folks, in this last flooding event, together, they saved over 1,300 Kentucky lives. Let's ask our Guard, our State Police, Fish and Wildlife, every first responder, please stand so we can recognize you. You know, I'd always said we have the best Guard in the entire country, but there wasn't any type of metric until they created an award from the National Guard. And in the very first year, the Commonwealth of Kentucky's Army National Guard won the award. How about that? And if the Air Guard's jealous, you ought to see how many awards they have. It's nothing short of amazing. When we saw the waters rising this time, we saw so many of those first responders spring into action. I read about folks like Austin and Monticello of the Wayne County Rescue Squad. He swam into icy waters to rescue an elderly man who was in distress. We saw the Wayland Fire Department stepping up once again, helping their community respond to the flooding that they'd been hit with for the third time. And these are the same folks that donated some of their land to be our next high ground community in Floyd County. Last year, we moved 11 families into those homes. We're moving 3 more. Just last week, I was there and I talked to a woman who I met, and Jenny Wiley, in 2022. Her home destroyed and she was in a safe home. That lifted me up until I talked to her son, who'd been flooded this time and lost everything. But he looked around that high ground community and he had hope. He had hope that there are folks like Pastor Boykin out there building homes like a madman down in Mayfield over and over and over again, committed that the very last family that needs that home is just as important as the first one that got those keys. Let's take a moment to thank everybody working to rebuild our Commonwealth and get people in these safe homes. We're thankful for everybody else who comes together and shows their faith in these times of difficulty. In Pike County, we saw a local PE teacher picking up Mercy Chef's meals to take to her students and their families. She wanted to make sure everybody was okay and that everybody was well fed. She was out delivering hot meals and waters to families whose driveways were completely washed away, or where the edges of the road were cracking and crumbling into the creek. We saw students like Haley, who grew up in Pike County and currently attends the University of Kentucky, organize a team of her peers and university faculty to send vital resources to Eastern Kentucky. She said, growing up in Eastern Kentucky, I was surrounded by kindness and learning. You give the shirt off your back if somebody needs it. As I reflect on the stories that embody the togetherness, kindness, and toughness of Kentuckians, I think about my faith and how my Savior Jesus was tougher than the nails that pinned him to the cross, but he did not bow to violence. Instead, showed the ultimate kindness in forgiving humanity. Sunday, Brittany and I were in Selma and had a chance to walk across that bridge and talk to some of the bravest, faith-led people that I've ever met in my life. They marched in peace towards danger and into violence to open the eyes of a country and to change the trajectory of the United States. The Bible tells us that kindness is the fruit of the Spirit, a value linked to love and goodness. We're told, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving each other, just as God in Christ has also forgiven you. So let's take this moment, this morning, to be reminded that during challenging or times when the world feels tough and nasty, it's our job to be a light in that darkness, to be kind to one another. Let's lean on our Kentucky values to help us push out the negative noise we hear on TV and online. It feels like a dark time, but in dark times, I turn to my faith, which is the light. During my State of the Commonwealth address this year, I spoke about how the Christmas story guides me. It's about God's love that brings hope to the world. It's about recognizing the value of every human being, no matter how high their status, but most especially no matter how low. In the Christmas story, God chose Mary, an unwed teenager, who he favored above all others. He chose someone that people in those days would judge, would look down on, might try to pass legislation against. To me, God's selection of Mary is a profound statement about how we should treat one another, about being able to see the face of God in those others might judge. So this morning, let's renew our commitment to help the least among us, to lift up the kindness that we see every day in our communities. Let's make more room at our table, not more room in our prisons. Let's lend a helping hand and not kick somebody while they're down. Let's keep welcoming more voices, not less, to our team. Let's welcome new perspectives that open doors to new ideas, new opportunities, and a brighter future for all Kentuckians. Kentucky is a special place, and I'm proud to be your governor. So as you leave here today, remember life's short. Our job is to do good things and to be kind to each other. Show each other compassion, love, generosity, and even patience. Because if we need something right now, it's a little patience in this world. So thank you. And now, I get to welcome our guest.
Gouverneur Kentucky Andy Béchamp, qui lui-même maintenant y a un prière breakfast que y a pu organiser matin là, il t'a pu présenter tableau situation qui lui-même paraît un petit peu sombre. Cependant, Kentucky qui était une place spéciale, lui demandé habitants dans cette ça pour yo plus sage yon à l'égard de l'autre malgré moment difficile. Dans moment bagay yo plus critique c'est le ça pour nous comprendre l'autre, pour nous supporter l'autre, pour nous gain charité plus. Il pas nécessaire, c'est pas moment pour nous à pousser l'autre qui déjà a tombé pour mettre à terre plus. Christmas ça c'était pour lui une occasion pour être capable réfléchir sur ça li représenter moment Christmas là que yon doué dans position pour supporter l'autre, réfléchir comment que yon capable aider l'autre pour ne pas tomber d'après gouverneur.
Getting started. Well, yeah. Now this is a list. Are you ready? While at UK, he was second team All-American, first team All-SEC, second team All-SEC, USA Today All-Bowl team, the VRBO Citrus Bowl MVP. He was named Kentucky Sports Figure of the Year, Mr. Kentucky Football, and the list goes on. Let's thank him for being here today, and we're about to have a good conversation.
C'est spécial guest que le gouverneur a pu recevoir, la parler de un jeune qui gagne un paquet honneur, un paquet dit compliment que monsieur recevoir pendant l'année.
First, thank you for being here. We got a whole crowd excited to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about your story. What inspired you to do the hard work to make it to the NFL?
I mean, my dad, he's the one that got me started when I was 5 years old. I wasn't technically allowed to play football when I started. Used a fake birth certificate to get me started on tackle football. He didn't like the flag, so I would say that's kind of where my toughness kind of came from. Always being one of the smaller guys and playing with older people my whole life, and yeah, that's just where it started, right there in Frankfurt. So
today I will be issuing a pardon to the Robinson family. A lot of gratitude comes from the lessons we learn in the most difficult moments of our life. If you could reflect back on a time you faced hard times or suffered a loss and what it taught you.
I mean, I would say really both of my parents. My mom, she deals with MS, and growing up, my dad, he was also incarcerated whenever I was about 6 years old until I was 15. So a lot of times it was just me and my mom. I had a great support system with the Hawkins, but I mean, it was definitely some times that I knew mom wasn't always going to be the best, and obviously there was times that I was mad at my dad just about him not being there, and But having to get over that and eventually realizing, he was just trying to provide for me at the end of the day. And with my mom, obviously, I know she was doing everything she could to make sure that I was going to get to this point that I am in my life now. She always knew that I wanted to get to the NFL, and she did everything that she could to get me here. So.
And she's here.
Yeah, she's right over there.
All right. Will you stand up and let us recognize you? Come on, Mom. There you go. Also works for Team Kentucky in our transportation cabinet, so thank you for your service. How important is it in your life to have that heart of gratitude?
It's very important. I've always seen people that like to diminish people and things like that, and it's just always been good to lend a hand and always just be there for somebody no matter what. I know how far that can take somebody, especially just the position that I've been able to be in, and being able to help some kids and help people that are less fortunate than me, and just knowing that there's always somebody there for you.
So we talk about teamwork a lot. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be in that huddle. That call comes out, everybody has to be on that same page. You're moving in so many different directions.
Yeah, football, especially on offense, all 11 have to be working together for a play to work. Literally, one guy can miss a block and the whole play looks very bad, and everybody else can be doing their job. So, just like you said, as soon as the quarterback comes in the huddle and gives us the call, we just have to lock in and know exactly what we have to do. It gets pretty hectic with the play calls. You'd probably be like, what are they saying whenever we're saying some of the things? No, it's pretty easy though. It's definitely really fun. It's challenging as well, especially whenever things aren't going our way. So.
You've done some incredible things on the football field and in the community. Talk about some of the things you're doing now, like the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation.
That's a foundation my dad had started, named after my grandmother, just to help kids that have parents that are incarcerated that were like me. I like to try and get around as much as I can with them. I haven't been able to as much since I've gotten drafted, but just to show kids that, it doesn't matter what happened with your family and with maybe your parents, brother or sister. You don't have to follow down those same footsteps and follow that same path.
So we got to talk a little bit about the upcoming season. A lot of people in this room for a while were Packers fans because Randall Cobb was there and playing at his height. And now a lot of people in this room are Giants fans. So any predictions about the upcoming season?
I would definitely say it'll be better than last year. We got to get that quarterback, and I'm confident that our GM and head coach will get that done. And I think once that's taken care of, my numbers will speak for themselves. So.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about kind of facing that adversity. What it's like getting out that next game and still pushing through and wanting to do your best.
That's just it's part of it. Especially, you start losing a couple games in a row. You're like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to keep going in here every day? And but at the end of the day, this is what I wanted to do my whole life. And I think my dad and guys like that, they remind me all the time, like, this is what you've trained your whole life to do, and you can't take it for granted. You only get so much time to do this, so that's why I just always try to keep my head on straight. So,
well, we are inspired by your grit, your determination, and we are really proud of you. Let's give it up for Wandale Robinson.
Thank you.
And I got one other thing. Now, Wandale has been a Wolverine. He's been a Wildcat. But we think it's time for him to be a Kentucky Colonel. Proud of you. Program. Am I doing famous guy? Yes. All right. All right, now it is time for the presentation of the William Cooper Faith and Community in Action Award. And it's a pretty special group that's getting it if you all want to start heading up. The winner of the 2025 Cooper Award is Family Scholar House.
Andy Bichard, qui est gouverneur État Kentucky, lui, dans un pré-breakfast ce matin, l'a non seulement présenté tableau situation dans ce titre que l'a dirigé, c'est comme un état de site là qu'elle a fait, l'a également honoré travail une série de monde fait dans la communauté comme jeune garçon ça, Robinson, qui lui-même pas le gain pour intégrer et NFL là, année ça, après que lui sélectionné, surtout récompense meilleure récompense qu'elle gagne pendant toute année dans différentes sections que lui retrouver dans différentes disciplines ou bien activités qu'elle participer, lui sorti comme une meilleure là-dedans. Autant elle t'a remercié maman particulièrement, même là que papa était dans prison qui était campé ensemble avec lui, lui reconnaître et puis papa lui mettre campé une fondation pour que lui-même tout lui travaille pour aider tout le monde qui gagne parents qui dans prison. Donc mes amis, nous toujours dit n'a continuer dire si vous voulez depuis ou gain volonté a gain moyen pour réaliser de bagages extraordinaires. Mais qui sacrifice que vous voulez faire? Dans quelle dimension que vous voulez pousser tête ou pour capable arriver côté que ou t'a doué arriver avec ça que vous gain comme talent, comme possibilité, comme opportunité qui présenté à vous-même. Il est toujours bon pour nous encourager Timounio. Il est même plus bon pour nous encourager yo pratiquer une discipline sportive, participer dans des activités culturelles, participer dans des activités sportives, l'église, l'école, la côté que dans la communauté que pas quitter Timounio, chita la kala devant un computer avec un téléphone numéro li bon, les a utiliser computer, c'est qui ça a fait ensemble avec lui, recherche pour devoir, recherche pour augmenter connaissances ou bien jouer game qui ça l'a utile li pas facile pour même parents fait plus sacrifice après travail pour mener Timounio dans practice activité sportive, une discipline sportive, mais il est toujours plus bon de pour capable faire effort, continuer faire nous encourager. Bon chez Pstars FM radio télévision amis de partout, n'a campé là, n'a pas gagné pour nous retourner pour nous continuer informer, restez ensemble avec nous sur réseau.